Welcome to eCore's Fireside Chat. This is a continued place where we invite experts to share insights about all things IT and how it is propelling companies to be prepared for the future world. This conversation is presented by eCore, technology services partner that is celebrating this year its 25th year of continued evolution and innovation. Today, we are happy to be here, a little bit jet lagged, a little bit tired this week off a great week last week in Vegas to help recap Atlassian Team 24. I want to sit here and reflect on the ecosystem, the enhancements and celebrations that we saw, and the future state of what we're looking to be. It clearly was a stance of a post-cloud migration and a cloud-first ready presentation. And as we move forward, it's all about the continued enhancement in cloud and the continued enhancement in AI as well. My name is Dan Teixeira. I am the Managing Director for North America for eCore, and I will be your host for this talk. With me today is Vando, Atlassian Solution Architect, and AJ, an ITSM evangelist, both working for eCore. Let's start with you, Vando. Do you mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, then, for having me. So nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Vando. I'm Solution Architect here at eCore. I've been working with eCore and also in the Atlassian ecosystem for the last 5-ish years. I joined eCore as a consultant, and then, after some time, moved more towards the solution architecture team. I got a few Atlassian certifications, also Atlassian specializations, and also work with some agile project management.
Excellent. AJ, we've been working together for a period of time. You're the at times at the show one of the people that everyone seeks out to say hello to. Why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Thanks, Dan. Hey, I'm AJ Schmalenberger. I am Atlassian guru of sorts. I've been working in the tool set for about 20 years now. I come to eCore from working with other Atlassian partners as well as working for Atlassian directly. I've worked in the IDT industry for roughly 25 years now. 25, I think. So my passion is helping teams get set up, get working in better ways so that I can help alleviate a lot of the problems that they have that I've encountered in my life experience, because we all know that IT can be one of the most frustrating things in the world for the users and for the people who are having to do it. And it's one of the most vital parts of any company these days. So I'm happy to be part of the eCore team to help solve some of those hard problems for people.
Awesome. So Team 23, all about the push towards cloud, all about pushing the organizations to get into that space. I think this was really, for me, the show me show, where they really did a great job at beginning the show and forecast and roadmap the future enhancements that they're projecting to get to in the cloud space. Vando, I'm going to start with you, and then AJ, we'll go to you right after. What were you most impressed at what you saw at Teams, specifically in the enhancements of what we're seeing in cloud?
I think that, what got most impressed, of course, they are investing a lot on AI. We're expecting someone else on AI. They announced Rovo. I think that AJ obviously is going to touch more on that. But two things that really caught my attention on the starting keynote. The first one, Atlassian is kind of, starting to talk more, instead of specific solutions, specific products, they're talking about, this solutions platform, how you can leverage their entire environment, from end to end of the company. I think was really good. And also something that really also caught my attention, it's how much they're investing on the entire platform, but how much, they're going to start even more, as I said, on the cloud first environment. So, how you can move from even their customers now on data center, how they're going to plan on moving those customers from data center to the cloud, how much they're investing on and to remove all the impediments and all the roadblocks for those customers, like getting FedRAMP certified soon, and move everyone to the cloud. I think you said spot on. Cloud first is one of the first words that Atlassian is going to continue to say, even though they have retired the server environment, they're focused on that for the data center customers.
Vando, thank you. AJ, Vando talked a little bit about the AI. I know that was a hit for you. What were you most impressed by?
Well, I think that it's really interesting how they're putting some real thought into how they can really simplify the setup experience for end users. They showed some really cool tools that they're going to be implementing soon that allow you to just kind of tell the AI what kind of a Jira project that you want to set up, and it will basically give you a basic setup around that. And being able to kind of talk to an AI to do configuration is huge for a lot of people. It's going to simplify that user experience in a awesome way for our users. I think that one of the coolest things that I foresee for the future of our customers, for users of the Atlassian products just generally in the cloud environment. And I think that it's worth saying, like you said, Teams 23 is all about moving to cloud. Now that we're in 2024, Atlassian was talking about, okay, now how do we get 100% cloud adoption, right? And that's really where they're focusing their new feature implementations. And I think that, like you said, Dan, this was the show you why year that you want to move to cloud. And I think that from seeing some of the changes that they're going to make to their software in the cloud environment, being able to have automatic responses using AI, being able to help write KB articles using information in your tickets and automatically creating KB articles in your Confluence environment from those, being able to help create new projects, help create tickets, help answer questions for your customers in the help portal. I think that they very clearly were sending the signal that AI is here to stay and that it's going to be a massive, massive contributor to your teams. And if you aren't in cloud now, it is probably a great time to look very heavily at moving over, because some of these tools are going to really enhance your end users experience for your customers, as well as your agents, as well as your administrators.
Let's double click in the AI space a little bit more, and then we'll come back to the cloud space to talk a little bit about even DC and where we're thinking that. I think we'll hit that towards the end. There's two main areas that I see that AI is going to provide the biggest impact to. I think one of them is going to be ITSM. One of them is going to be all around knowledge management. AJ, if you could just keep going on the ITSM space, you've been in this domain for a bit. Where do you see it really helping? You talked a little bit about the page setups, but where else do you see it helping within that ITSM space?
Yeah, so one of the major things that they showcased was their chat bot technology, right? The ability for in the no outside chat integration needed. They're adding a chat functionality into the portal for JSM, and I really think that that's going to help with deflection a lot, answering people's questions based off of your knowledge base articles, as well as a knowledge pool that generally looks at things in the world, right? They have a large language model that they're using. I believe it's a derivative of Amazon's model. I don't know if they built their own or not. That would be a good question to ask, actually. But more for that on that next time. But No, it was really cool showcasing some of the deflection abilities, and I think that having that built in directly into JSM, no add-ons needed, no integrations needed, I think that's going to be a huge, huge boon in their favor. I think that the ability to create knowledge base articles, it'll actually like take summaries from tickets and create like a nice little summarized list, which is cool. But then also from the Confluence side, you can actually include tickets in the Confluence page and then be like, hey, make a KB article about these from these, how I solved this. And it'll write up a really cool little write up, which I think that from my personal experience, no one in IT likes writing KB articles, right? Like it's monotonous. Keeping them updated is a pain in the butt. Like curating that data is a pain. But having that AI assistant where you can just be like, hey, help me write this, and have something like very readable and very relevant with actual information from your tickets, makes that process way easier, right? And if you're not having to constantly search through your pages, you can have your AI like schedule like automations to like not update it for you, but like take a look at it, and then you can use the AI assistant to kind of change language, pull in more relevant tickets, things like that. It's gonna be a real boon to teams where they're not going to have their very technical people that are maybe not the best writers have to learn how to be, writers all the time, right? They can still be those IT technology experts, and then really get that assistance in the tool itself to help these kind of write these robust KB articles, which will then feed into your chatbot and your ticket deflection a lot better, right? Making it a lot easier for you to reduce the amount of work that your IT team has to do.
Unbelievable. Vando, the one thing that I was most I felt like got the least bang, but I felt was the most impactful. We always talk about reporting. We talk about the importance of reporting coming off the tools, but a lot of the times the frustration comes in the lack and ability to find the content you need. And so I thought unified search was one of the biggest things that could come out of the knowledge management space. Can you talk about what that is and some of the other spaces in the knowledge management area?
Yeah, sure. So I completely agree. Either the reporting, kind of have the unified search, because now with the Atlassian Intelligence and also Rovo, you can, for example, because we many times, throughout our work, we create some acronyms, and sometimes either someone that is new to the company or is not familiar, that does not know what that means. So either in your software and Confluence, you can just highlight and ask your AI kind of what is that. So for example, if you had created EFC, for example, to create this, as we manage everything in Confluence here at Ecor, we created EFC to say that it's core Fireside Chat. If someone does not know what that means, they could, either in Ticket or in Confluence just highlight that and say, okay, please tell me what's that. But also, you kind of have, your little ChatGPT embedded into Confluence. Now you can, for example, you have a page with lots of information. You can ask Confluence to summarize that for you, or as I said, you can ask that to rephrase that, kind of change the language, change how you've written that. So I think it's quite useful, and something that I also like a lot, because many times when you're making search in Jira, as you said, create reports, we need to have a huge experience on JQL to know exactly how we want to get the tickets and how we want to get information. By leveraging AI, by leveraging Atlassian Intelligence, you can, just in a natural language, ask, so I want all the tickets for project ABC, or I want all the tickets from last sprint on project ABC, and just by asking that to the chat, chat is going, the Atlassian Intelligence is going to create automatically for you the JQL and make the search and bring in that information. So, I think it's quite powerful and quite useful.
I think also of noting on the reporting side of things, they announced AirTrack as something that they've acquired, and that will be a data importer from outside sources into kind of like the Atlassian databases, right? So you can get this information imported into your assets for JSM. And what's really cool is that they're going to integrate that with like the Atlassian analytics data, so that if you have Atlassian Analytics today and are trying to generate reports, you can actually search all of that data that you import from these external data sources, which I think is hugely powerful. And you can ask it questions using, again, the Atlassian intelligence. You'd be like, hey, tell me who doesn't have antivirus on their laptops, right? And it'll just tell you. It's so cool. Like, you can get data from SCOM, you can get data from Code 42. They have all of these built-in integrations already for all these places, and then they actually have an API available if one of your pre-built data sources isn't in their set. You can actually use the API to write these data importers. I think it's going to be hugely powerful for creating relevant analytical data for uh, customers, and you can search all of that in one place. You don't have to go between different, softwares anymore. It's I think it's going to be a huge game changer to help people get the data in one place that they need to, and be able to search it all in one place.
And it's really coming together at that end-to-end solution.
Hmm.
More and more coming together at that end-to-end solution. So I think that's incredible.
I think that, like, to your point, they talked a lot about how they want to be a platform, not a tool, right?
Yes.
And I think that they've made huge strides towards that. They talked about this coexist strategy that they have quite a few times, where uh, if there's a best in breed product out there for your use case, that's awesome. They don't want you to try to replace that in with Jira or any of their other tools, but what they do want to do is be the best in class that they are at work management, and be able to bring in your data from whatever other tools, so that you can manage your work in Jira while still integrating and using other tools for, say, like office desk management, right? Like, I've seen people use Jira for that in the past. It's a terrible idea, right? Like, it works kind of, but there's desk management software out there, and having the ability to pull in information from these outside sources. And use the Atlassian platform as your work management, your data, your knowledge management, your analytics software, all of that stuff, I think, is the route that they're definitely going. And I think that's going to be hugely impactful for our end users.
So the limitation to that is still going to be not being in cloud. Vando, we heard a lot in the show about still DC, not primarily from Atlassian, but from clients that stopped by the booth and spoke to us, and clients that we were interacting with. What's the advice? You have a DC client listening. What do you think they should be doing practically to move this forward?
I think that the main point, is understand which are the limitations that are not allowing you to move to cloud. Because the common scenarios that you see, of course, there's some, let's say, legal or compliance limitations, because Atlassian Cloud is not FedRAMP yet, but they are wanting to do that. I think it's the main point, because if there's one, Atlassian's working on that, should be available soon. But we also see many customers that either they have highly customized environments, because you could directly customize Jira on that matters when you're on premises, or, for example, some add-ons they're still not available in cloud. So I think, if it's that case, this will be the starting point to understand, okay, how we can either buy yourselves or leverage a partner like Ecor to do that, to make an assessment, understand how we can go over those restrictions, either understand which are the limitations, understand, for example, which are the add-ons that are not available in cloud, if we can replace that, or if there's a migration path for those, or which are the functionalities, the shortcomings that we had to customize in Jira, and how we can take that to the cloud, either through a lift and shift migration, or start with a greenfield implementation and start from scratch, understand, because by the time when you're in the cloud, you can start, for example, there are some functionalities that I did this way, I can do other way, and you can leverage, as you said, Atlassian is heavily investing mainly not main, but I think mostly in cloud. So there are many functionalities that customers that are still on-premise, they're kind of losing. They're not able to leverage AI. They're not going to be able to leverage the new integrations, as AJ said, with their track, but also with their new products they're releasing, like Atlas or Compass or even Loom. There are shortcomings on this integration. So, and we definitely can help the customers with that.
Well, and I think that something that they announced, like speaking to that, something they announced in 2023 and they've really doubled down on in 2024 was Forge, right? And Forge, I think, is going to be hugely impactful if you have like custom add-ons, if you have a heavily customized environment. In the past, you couldn't do anything in cloud to customize your environment, right? With Forge, there's actually a great amount of ability to do customization now for custom app development. If you need something changed, you can use the Forge to develop a new add-on. I'm helping a customer right now work on one that's all about helping pick um, versions, right? And we're looking at how we can upgrade the version plugin they have in Data Center currently, and it's actually going to be way easier to build this in the cloud Forge environment than it was doing Java, programming to update this in Data Center, because Forge is built to be more accessible to create add-ons, and I think that will remove a lot of blockers that people have had with not being able to customize certain things. I agree the FedRAMP problem is still a problem, right? The joke has been FedRAMP certification has been a year away for the last 5 years. So like that is still a problem, right? There's still some data residency issues that people might have problems with. I can still see why some people might be having problems moving over to cloud still, but I think that less and less every day, there's less and less of those barriers.
And I think it's getting more specific, as kind of
Yeah.
both of you talked about. Let's double click on the Forge piece and the marketplace. I think as a result of Atlassian moving to more of a platform, where we're going to see a trend in, and we saw it this year, was for more and more industry specific solutions. And we're seeing use cases we're implementing in universities of people looking for asset management solutions. We're looking for specific clients which are looking for, we're building out operational service desks, so facilities, things of that nature. And then some very specific within industries like fintech and healthcare, where these places are coming in. And I really am impressed by the marketplace and the ability for our partners in that space to continue to evolve their solutions and evolve them more and more to fit the client's needs. And so it's becoming really a great end-to-end solution, with the Atlassian platform being in play and then the marketplace getting specific to the client needs. We walked around. There's always one or two of the app vendors that really kind of starred out for you and called out. Vando, which one did you see as kind of the star pupil of the show?
I think if I can mention, as we said, looking at this platform solution, I think that the main one that I saw was Temple investing in this, SPM solution. So how you can leverage their entire platform with structure and also Roadmonk and also Temple budgets and Temple timesheets, to have this entire view of this platform, as I said, this entire solution for strategic portfolio management. So, how you can get the data that's going to be centralized in the structure, and how you can leverage that to make sure the data that you see in every single point is the same data. So the data that you put it into Roadmap on a more strategic layer, is the same one that you have in the structure, and it's the same one that you have on custom charts, for example. There's something that really great that I saw is quite different, because for many gadgets, to get the data on the reporting, you have to use JQLs. And sometimes customization of JQLs might lead some different data, but when you're using structure and you're using custom charts, you can choose your source of data to be one predefined structure that I have in the structure. So you make sure for entire cycle, through your entire platform, let's call it this way, all the data is the same, so you can rely on this data. I think it was the main one that I saw. Did you see any other, AJ?
Yeah. So actually, my buddy Nick Wade, who I worked with at Atlassian back in the day, has a new add-on company that I thought was really interesting, talking about specific use cases. It actually searches your Jira and Confluence environments for PII. And I think that getting into really specific niche use cases like this is kind of the future of a lot of add-on vendors for the Atlassian marketplace, because there's very specific use cases that are going to be very industry specific that Atlassian's just never going to like cover, and having like an easy way for like people in the healthcare industry to search for PII and issues so that they can either erase that or make sure that it's not outside of certain like permissions issues. It's super cool to me, and they built it in Forge, and it's just a really cool concept that I thought was really unique. And I think that I saw several vendors in the area around like data backups for cloud. There's not a ton of like data backup solutions for the cloud environment. Like you have options when you have your own data center. So being able to like back up that data, that was kind of cool. There was the ability to kind of like revisualize. I think we've seen some like skins and stuff in the past for data center and server, and there hasn't been as much of that in cloud. And I've seen a few different vendors there that were getting into that marketplace. And I think that your classic AppFire and Tempo are both still putting out very strong products and are still going to be kind of juggernauts in the add-on space. And their products, like Vando was saying, Tempo's SPM products, AppFire's ability to, do some coding and do some other really cool stuff in your environment to extend the functionality. I think they're going to continue to be kind of the big players in the marketplace space.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they're going to continue to, I think, while being big players, continue to diversify. A lot of talk around service management during the show, and as we were talking to clients there. Vando, what was some of the unique cases you saw for service management? Some of the unique scenarios that you saw that were a little bit more industry specific. I spoke about universities. Any others that you saw?
I think that besides, some industry specific, I know that I think that now there's happening a huge investment, kind of going away from just ITSM and go also towards the ESM environment, and that is for enterprise service management. So we talked with a customer, for example, during the conference, they stepped up by our booth. They said, "No, we are using Jira and we are using for marketing team." And they said, but I asked, "Are you using Jira Software or Jira Service Mesh?" No, they said, "No, we are using Jira Software." I asked them, "Do you know that you could use, for example, Jira Service Manage to manage your intake of requests? So kind of create your service catalog with the types of requests that your marketing team is using. But even more than that, you can save on licenses, because when you're creating the request, when you're creating the request directly from Jira, the way they were using, you have to have every single user's license. But when you leverage JSM, you're gonna have to license just the agents, the people who work on the ticket. And you can also, of course, streamline that. You can link the request from JSM into Jira Software, so you can kind of keep the same process they're still doing. You can kind of clone the request and so on and so forth, but also you can have some savings on license. So, I think that having this visibility, having this power that many customers sometimes does not have, I think is a really good point, because sometimes teams start using Jira Software, and what we have seen from this usually it's development teams who start using Jira Software on the adoption side. Is the IT teams that start using Jira Software, and some teams seeing some value in that, and they expand to the other teams, and those teams start using Jira Software as well. But there are some different ways that better ways to use the tool, and how they can leverage better the tool on other side, not just on Jira Software and Jira Work Management.
Yeah, beautiful. AJ, go ahead, AJ.
I was just gonna say, I think one of the things that you just said, Jira work management, it's going away.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yes.
talk about that at all. But Jira work management and Jira software are being recombined. Uh, so Jira used to just be Jira, and then it became Jira Software, Jira Service Desk, and Jira Work Management. Jira Core originally, and then Jira Work Management, right? And they're getting rid of Jira Work Management and Jira Software, and it's just recombining into Jira. So I thought that was a fun little insight.
I think it clarifies the platform of solutions that they have incredibly, because then I think we'll see a bigger adoption of teams that are really thinking about whether you're a service request team. Do you provide services, or are you simply working? And if you're simply working, that's the Jira space. If you're having those services, that's where the JSM space is.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's more like, are you a project team or are you an operations team?
Yeah.
And I think that's really the only differentiation they need to make, right? Like,
Yeah.
are you working on projects or are you working on service requests? And oftentimes teams will work on both, right? So that there's a use case for having both licenses
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, it goes incredibly, as all of you know, I talk a lot about team topologies and the different types of teams that there are. I think mapping those different types of teams, are you a component-based team, a feature-based team? Are you working on service requests, or are you working on operations? And then making sure that you have the right tool and then the right industry specific for that tool. Now we're really getting empowered. We saw some really great stories as well, client stories. It's one of the best parts of the show. At eCore, we're really privileged by one of our clients being actually named the High Velocity Client of the Year, and that is with iFoods. AJ, I was right next to you during the iFoods presentation. I kept hearing ooh and ah and oh, that's a nice kind of things from you. So I don't know why I suddenly got an Italian accent when I said ooh, that's nice.
Ooh,
But what were the biggest insights you got from there?
I think it was especially eye-opening for me being newer to the eCore team and not living in Brazil, right? That was kind of my introduction to them as a company, and it was really cool seeing what they're doing. A massive company, and they have delivery robots and like electric bikes that people can rent, and they track all that through their Jira service management platform. If there's any problems with these, they automatically raise tickets. It's blew my mind. It's such a cool implementation, and they're a massive company. And a lot of people are talk about how Jira Service Management can't be used at like the enterprise level, and I'm like, clearly it can be. They're a massive company in Brazil that it's using Jira Service Management to manage these thousands of requests that they get. And I think that one of the cool things that they talked about was uh, the use of like the formerly Opsgenie, now just part of JSM tools for like incident management. And I think that they're integrating the full features of Opsgenie into Jira Service Management now, which I think will be super helpful for kind of managing those larger case incidents. I think that the automations to get alerting, to get create tickets from kind of some of those automated sources when you have a problem, so that you can put people, alert people that need to be alerted. I think that'll be really cool. It's going to also probably reduce people's dependency on other tools like PagerDuty and stuff like that, which can really kind of simplify your IT tool landscape. What else did iFoods say that I really enjoyed? I just couldn't get over that they have automated food delivering robots. I thought that was just so neat.
One of the things I took away the most was this: prior to JSM being implemented, the team that Eugenio was the stakeholder there was managing was in chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Massive amounts of tickets, didn't know what was priority, and you could sense in his voice as he was presenting that it was just a frustrating place to be. And after that, there was a level of empowerment that came onto the team, a level of unity. The team was all there as well. And so it just, tools don't solve everything, and platforms and solutions like what we implement don't solve everything. But they sure as hell make things a little bit easier. And then we could deal with the personal collaboration and spaces to it. And it was really heartwarming to see that, um, technology put in place in the right way, whether that's JSM, whether the future is an AI space that could come into play, doesn't limit us. It actually somewhat, or doesn't remove us from the equation. It actually allows humans to be more human-like and do the human-like thing that they end up doing.
I think we went to that keynote with Dr. Feifei that
Yes.
was all about. She was a doctor in AI, one of the huge contributors to things that allowed LLMs to like understand the world. ImageNet, I think it was called, was the project that she
Yes.
worked on, and it was funny. One of the quotes that I love from it was, "Humans have never, or AI's never ticked me off, but humans sure have." But that was funny. But I think more intriguing was that we talked about how the ability for people to like learn and understand is going to be massively accelerated by AI, right? We talked about how these LLMs can pass the SATs today, right? And we use 16 years, 18 years to teach people all this information. And you can just have it, a computer can do that for you now. And I think it's going to be massively empowering to people to have access to this information at their fingertips, to allow that humanity based aspect to kind of really thrive. I think that was a really great point, and I thought that was one of the most powerful talks about the whole thing, because it was really about the future of AI and where people's place is in that future.
Great.
Sorry, when you said the humanity of it all, I was just
No,
like,
you're
oh yeah, I
good.
remembered that part. It was so good.
All right. The event just ended. What better way to conclude us off by predicting what's going to happen next year? Vando, we're at Teams 2025, Team 2025, excuse me. What do you think is going to be the biggest story coming out of this next year?
Honestly, it might be a wild guess, but if they get, as you said, they are announcing they are going to be fed from the last 5 years, fed ramps at 1 year. If we get to that point, I would not be surprised if somehow Atlassian announced that, that they're going to sunset data center, for example. It may be a huge wild guess, but I wouldn't be 100% surprised if I heard that. But even more than that, probably even bigger investments on AI, as we have seen. They announced AI last year with Atlassian Intelligence. This year we heard about Provo. Just expecting to see which is going to be the next big announcement on the AI side.
AJ?
Man, they I mean, in the last year they've introduced some wild stuff, so it's really hard to guess. But I think that it's funny you said the data center thing too, because I kind of think that also. But if they do, it would be another like 3-year, 4-year, 5-year rollout type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And they might not even do that. So don't anyone be too worried about that yet. But I think that we're gonna see probably some big changes in like the portfolio management space. Their Align tool has been up and down as far as like adoption. People got really excited about it, and then it needed some changes. It needed some updates. I would not be shocked if we saw a big change to that platform in the next year, because I think that that's a space that people uh, really are needing some more help in. Um, and then I wouldn't be shocked terribly if we saw something in the like resource management space. I think that that's a big. They're pushing for ServiceNow, right? Like I don't think that's like a big shock to anyone that they're trying to take business away from ServiceNow. And I think that the resource management portion of that is still missing from the Atlassian tool set. And you see partners like Tempo trying to solve that, but I would not be shocked if Atlassian came out with something in that space in the next year, or bought someone that had something in that space.
You guys took all my answers.
Yeah.
Removal, right? I think end of DC is a real strong proponent to it. Continue to work towards AI. I think this is going to be one of the more powerful spaces in AI that we see forth. The show was incredibly quiet on Jira Align. I do agree that I think that there's a lot going on in the background, and we're going to see some big things coming out of Jira Align coming in next year. Resource management spot on, and just so I add value and don't just look like the useless host. The other thing I really think is industry specific solutions. I think we're going to see them come out with a professional service solution app, which connects everything in class the platform to work in professional services or healthcare or fintech, and begin to show how these platforms all stick together. It has been an absolute pleasure. I want to thank you all for listening. AJ, Vando, I want to thank you all for being alert on a Monday after Team 24 and being here with us. We will continue to provide more insights through the Fireside Chat. Another session will be coming up soon. Don't forget, if you just caught this one for the first time, you have the AWS conversation that we had as well, where we moving into the future of cloud. Feel free to download that, register that, check out more content within the eCore platform as well. AJ, did you have something else to add?
Yeah. I forgot that we didn't mention that if you hadn't heard, Team 25 is going to be in Anaheim. So moving from Las Vegas. So next time, live update from Disneyland, I guess.
I'll be less tired from walking around aimlessly trying to find rooms. It's going to be great. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. AJ, Vando, thanks for participating. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dan. Have a good one.
Thank you, Dan. Have a good one.